Hello and welcome back to the GorillaBiker. And today we're going to talk about the Honda Rebel 1100 or the CMX 1100. Honda just announced it and it's a bike I am very, very excited about. Why am I excited about it? Well, let's talk about that. First and foremost, the engine. 1084cc 22.5 degree parallel twin producing 87 brake horsepower at 7,000 RPM, or in American money, wait, the brake horsepower is the American money, or in European money, 65 kilowatts. And more importantly, it also produces 97 Newton meters, or 72 pounds per feet, at 4,750 RPM. You get peak oomph that low. I just can't wait to actually feel it on the engine. And it's a nice and revvy engine as well. The fact it does go as high as, 7,000 RPM for its peak, that says a lot. That means that's going to be a fairly high revving engine, which, that's a good thing. So you get your peak torque quite low in the rev range, and you also have a nice and high peak power quite high in the rev range. I think that's brilliant. And why do I think that's brilliant? Well, this bike. My 1987 Honda Super Magna V4 produces 80 brake horsepower, like 56 kilowatts, at 9,500 RPM. It also produces 66 Newton meters, or 48.5 pounds per feet, at 7,500 RPM. So the new Honda Rebel 1100, it produces slightly more power at slightly less RPM and a hell of a lot more torque at a lot lower RPM. So to put that into perspective, the power comes in peak 2,500 or 2,000 RPM lower and 33% more torque over 3,000 RPM lower, or about 3,000 RPM lower. I'm not very good at maths. That's a lot. That is a lot. And why am I excited about that? Well, because out on the road, this bike is the most fun I've ever had on two wheels, power-wise, because it's a realistic amount of power to use in the road. So Honda have brought that torque, which is fun, lower down into the rev range. They've brought the power lower down into the rev range, but they've also kept the bike revvy. They've kept, obviously it's still a 6-speed or a DCT, but put the DCT in the bin in my opinion. I have no interest in it. They've brought all that usable power into the fun zone and just kept it there. They haven't went for stupidly high peak horsepower numbers, which no one uses anyway. They've kept it small, they've kept it stable, they've kept it usable. So the styling to me is perfect. It only comes in two colors, the blacked out version or that burgundy red that Ron would be proud of. I really like the exposed frame. I really like what they've done with the forks. The forks are blacked out. It's still a single brake disc on the front. People who complain about that haven't ridden bikes like it, I don't think. I really like the styling. So straight off the bat, you've bars that I'd want to keep. The LED front headlight is really, really pretty looking. The seats are cool. All of those additional accessories that are available online, and I'm not going to put them up here because I'm not someone who just wants to rehash a press release. This is my opinion on the bike. But even those rear racks on the seats and stuff, they just look fantastic. And to have that offering straight off the bat from Honda, I think they've nailed it. So that modern styling, it just looks mean. I really love how it looks. I love what they've went with. It's sleek. It is very reminiscent of the Rebel 500 and 250, which everyone knows has done great things for Honda. People love them because they're great bikes. They are great bikes, and I love how they've kept it in the same vein. They haven't tried to go too far outside of the box that they already know that they've already been successful with. They've just put in a bigger, better engine. I think that's fantastic. That 1100cc is proven. It looks good, and it's from an Africa twin, so it's going to be reliable. Also, it being a modern bike means that it has all those modern creature comforts, most of which I wouldn't use. It has throttle by wire, which is going to give you cruise control. It's going to give you riding modes. It has LED headlights. It has, probably quite easy addition of heated grips and seats if you want those things. I can't imagine I'd ever use many of them on a modern bike, but cruise control would be nice on the way to and from work. I know there's DCT available as well. Not something I would particularly want on my cruiser, but it's a nice option to have there for people, whether they have injuries or whatever else. It's really cool that Honda have kept that technology that they've developed, that they've made, and they've just brought it through into this bike as well. I'm genuinely properly excited about it. So styling, I think, is A1. I think it's really nice. It's sleek, it's mean, it's aggressive. And the use, you know, it's a modern bike, but they haven't done too much. And I can't wait to see it in the flesh, to be honest. So like I said, cool styling, really nice bars from the off, LED headlights, you know, an exhaust that's begging to be changed out for something cooler. I honestly, it's a bike that I wish Honda kind of hadn't built because I'm going to want to buy it. Other important things are the weight. The 1100 is going to weigh in at 223 kg wet, or just touching off 500 pounds. Versus the Magna, which is 240 kg wet, or just slightly over 500 pounds. Again, very similar bikes, both frame-wise, very similar bikes power-wise. You know, the 1100 kicks the shit out of it, really. And also, you know, very similar bikes, you know, fuel-wise. And the fuel is something that I think a lot of people also have a bit of contention about. But they're both around and about 13 litres, or 11 to 13 litres, 3.5 gallons if you're in America. And you know, the reason I bring these two things up is a lot of noise has been made about the power, that, you know, it's under 100 brake horsepower, and also the fuel range. So why am I saying all of this? Why should you care? Why do I care? Well, what Honda have done is they've come really close to making a modern Magna. Yes, they've used the wrong engine configuration, but to be honest, in this case, I'm going to forgive them for that. You know, modern things that they have, rules and laws and stuff they have to apply to, just makes the parallel twin make more sense than a V4. You know, emissions regulations and stuff. Plus, that Africa Twin engine is not only proven, it's torquey as hell, and it's really, really good. So all of these figures and details that we've discussed, you know, put the Honda Rebel 1100 and, in my opinion, the Honda Super Magna, and also kind of most of the Honda Magnas, in a very similar market. And that's awesome. Why is it awesome? Well, so if you ever get a chance to ride a Super Magna or a Magna on the street, please do. It's so much fun. And it would prove what I'm saying to you, that the reason I'm excited about the 1100 is because it's similar to this bike. It's a usable power. It's a power that makes sense in modern life. It's a power that you can use on the street without going so fast that, you know, you're risking your license and jail and your livelihood and everything else. You know, I have more fun doing that because I know that I don't need to worry as much, if that makes sense. In this ever increasingly police monitored world, or just monitored world in general, what Honda have done is made a semi-blacked out, semi-sleeper bike with power and looks that just make sense. And you know, I just think it's fantastic. I really, really can't wait to hopefully have a test ride on one. It's a homage to the Magna. It's going to be so similar. It's going to be so much fun on the road. It's going to be, for the type of riding I like to do a lot of the time, it's going to be almost perfect. You know, complaints about the power and range are misguided. You know, complaints around all of that stuff, it's just people who haven't really ever ridden a bike like that, I feel. People who don't understand that they don't use their peak horsepower all the time. People that don't understand that peak horsepower lives in an area of their rev range that they rarely go to. You know, 4,750 RPM for your peak torque, it just makes sense. And range on a petrol bike? Why is that even a complaint? You know, if you're complaining about having to stop every 120 miles or around about every 180 to 200 kilometers on the 1100, what's going on there? Where are you riding to that you can't spend 5 minutes fueling up your bike? If that's a reason that you don't buy the Honda Rebel 1100, I think your priorities are just wrong for riding motorcycles in general. But that's just me. Lastly, thanks Honda. Now I have to find a way to buy and store another bike, and this one's going to be brand new. Price wise, I'm not sure what it's going to be in Ireland yet, but it's around $9,000 to $10,000 in the US, so it's probably going to be, you know, at least 11,000 euro here. I know the DCT model's a little bit more expensive, but genuinely, you know, literally hats off to Honda. I think they've knocked it out of the park. I think the styling is perfect. I think the power and torque is perfect. Yeah, maybe it could use a little bit more fuel in the tank, but that would have sacrificed the looks. And like I said, it's really not that big a deal stopping every now and again to fuel up your bike. If you've watched, thank you very much for watching. If you have enjoyed this video and you're new here, please also subscribe and hit the like button. If you've never been to this channel before, then all I generally talk about is bikes. I fix bikes, I ride bikes, I go places on bikes. And at the moment, I'm nearly finished this 1996 Suzuki GSX-R SRAD. So if you have an interest in seeing that build, stick around. As always, a special thank you to my patrons. I know someone requested I give my opinion on this bike after I'd already planned on doing this video, because genuinely, as soon as it was announced, I was super excited. So, as always, massive thank you to my patrons for their support. And until next time, thank you very much for watching. Thank you, Honda, for almost making a new Magna. We're nearly there. You just need to put in a different engine. And until next time, thank you very much for watching. Adios. Outro crew. How am I going to afford another bike? And how am I going to not have Toaster kill me? Because she's standing right behind that camera right now, and I'd say if I came home with a bike worth €11,000, I'd be killed. Anyway, bye.